Hi, you're watching the Africa Nutrition Society's podcast on school health and nutrition. And today I have with me a special guest. They say she comes from the country with the last alphabet, you know. She's coming all the way from Zimbabwe. Can you believe that? We've been deliberating on practical approaches to improving school health and nutrition. And Ms. Nyanungo has a lot to say, a lot to tell us. She has a lot of experience. She served as the pioneer chair of the National School Feeding Task Force from 2016 to 2024 and was the National SFP focal point. She's also a member of the AU Expert Practitioners Technical Working Group. As a retired government official, Ms. Nyanungo has attended numerous homegrown school feeding programs, continental and regional events. She has visited various African countries to learn from their school feeding program implementations. Mom, you're welcome.
Thank you.
It's been so nice meeting you. You got an award today at the pre-conference. You make everyone happy here. We thank you for that. So you break the ice. Could you please share with us your background and experience in developing the school feeding program in Africa?
Thank you very much. I am really grateful for the opportunities that I got through the government of Zimbabwe. I am a psychologist working with children.
Psychologist?
Yes.
Oh.
And before I got this assignment, I'd only interacted with nutritionists when it comes to some conditions that children have, where children have attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder or autism. There have been some nutrition-related issues raised. So in terms of experience, I was at the right place at the right time in 2016, when the African Union Heads of State Summit issued out a communique that every country must have a homegrown school feeding program. And there is much that I have learned through the process that I would be happy to share with others. Thank you.
Wow. So how long have we had school feeding program running, and what evidence do we have regarding the impact of school feeding programs on student health and also their academic performance?
In terms of the homegrown school feeding program as a permanent feature of government planning, in Zimbabwe, the government took a decisive step in 2016. At that time, it targeted only the first 4 years of primary schools, 2 years of ECD, and the first 2 grades. In the rural schools, it went very well. The program was very well accepted. However, we learned a lot of lessons in terms of the food basket that needs to be provided, the cost thereof, the practical modalities for the preparation and serving of school meals, and issues of equity and the contributions that not only parents but other non-education players have to make for the school feeding program to work sustainably.
You talked about homegrown school feeding program. Could you please break that down for us? Which one is the homegrown school feeding program?
Thank you very much. The African Union decision on the homegrown school feeding is based on its game-changing multiplier effect. The concept is based on the fact that when balanced school meals are provided to pupils at school, it generates an automatic market for fresh agricultural produce. That guaranteed market means that smallholder farmers do not have overhead transport costs because they'll be growing for local consumption and getting paid for it. So the 4 areas where the homegrown school feeding program is a game changer are: number one, When pupils have food at school, they learn better, they participate better, and they have better learning outcomes. While they are doing well at school, their health and nutritional status also improves. While these two are improving, the smallholder farmers are also getting increased profit margins and creating jobs. And for the African Union, that would also mean a priority to women and youth, therefore transforming the socioeconomic status in those communities. And finally, also a social protection for orphaned and vulnerable children. So the homegrown aspect of it is that it is sustained through this multiplier effect with different role players, not just education. It brings in together education, agriculture, health, especially the nutritionists and the pediatricians. It also brings in other players in terms of water and sanitary hygiene in the schools. It brings in the whole value chain from growing the food, the transport, logistics, storage, preparation, quality assurance, all the way down the line. It's creating more and more income. And most of all, the bottom line, it means it reduces the disease burden of the nation. It produces fit sports people, a healthy workforce, and happy children. So it's a game changer. It's homegrown in that it is not just about providing meals, but a chain.
That sounds very interesting. And so how do we measure the success of such programs over time?
The success of the homegrown school feeding program is work in progress across the whole of Africa. The success of the homegrown approach depends on the multi-sectoral linkages that need to be there between government, civil society, the private sector, and the citizens themselves. It brings in the education, health, agriculture, social protection, and gender matrix together. And with particular reference to the 9th Africa Nutrition Conference that we're here for, it puts at the center the critical importance of nutrition-sensitive meals, because the meals are not just to fill the stomach, but to address nutritional issues such as micronutrient deficiencies, malnourishment among children, the third area of obesity, which altogether makes it a continental priority looking forward to the Africa we want.
Right, to the Africa we want. And this comes down to our governments, our policymakers, as the community, as a people. So in that light, what strategies, in your experience, have you found most effective in engaging stakeholders as far as implementing school feeding programs is concerned?
Well, in Zimbabwe, we took the African Union decision that the 1st of March every year shall be for the commemoration of the Africa Day of School Feeding. We've used that for advocacy. And I'm happy to say, in terms of community engagement, local leadership, parents, and even the pupils themselves, there is no doubt that school feeding is the best way to go. However, we've also learned lessons that as long as the linkages are not synchronized so that agriculture budgets for the food supply systems to move and be in sync with the demands from schools, that the food producers be trained at the right food production methods that are nutrition sensitive, that those that prepare the meals are trained so that the food that is prepared has the nutritional qualities we need, and most of all, that the investment that's needed to trigger the investment dividend that we're looking for are not in tune, it will take a while to really get the desired outcomes from the homegrown school feeding program.
So what do we do as a people? For you, for example, as an expert, a well-experienced person working with government, involved in policy, for example, what is your vision for the future of the school health and nutrition in Africa over the next 5 years, or let's say the next decade?
I see a very bright future. I am excited to see that on the Sustainable Development Goals, we can now see an intersection between the Sustainable Development Goal on education, number 4, intersecting with the one on poverty eradication, intersecting with the one on climate change and environment, intersecting with food and nutrition security. So this is really the right time to synchronize and plan and target the low-hanging fruits. I see exciting possibilities because in terms of UNESCO and education for sustainable development, all nations in the world are now looking at a heritage-based approach to who they are. We are who we are in the way we live. The way we live includes what we eat.
Right.
And if food is part of our identity, it then can be our nutrition and dietary habits and healthy living styles can be in different aspects of the curriculum. Literature is not just about the things we can't touch. We can talk about food in different contexts.
Right.
Climatic change is an exciting area where also food, nutrition, and health come in. ICTs also bring in new tools to do things smarter and easier. So for me, there is the future of health and nutrition lies in a coordinated, multi-sectoral, multi-level approach, but using more of bottom-up actions, because local decisions help us to shy away from the one-size-fits-all. We have general principles that apply to everybody, but local action then looks at the unique environments that our programs and policies are leading. So, as I see it, on the continental education strategy for Africa, we already have factored in school health and nutrition, health and well-being. On the SDGs, we are there. And on national development strategies, everything is coming together as one. And I look forward to the post-Malabo declaration on where we go forward as a continent. Thank you.
Well, that was packed. Friends, you've heard for yourself. We can do this. You see, the future also depends on our school-age children, and it's important for us to switch focus, or also include focus for improving school health and nutrition. And there's a lot of information, insights that we have grabbed from Ms. Nyanungo. The bottom-up approach, it's important to also consider multi-sectoral approaches as well. It's important for us to engage stakeholders and make them understand the essence and the practical approaches, how we benefit as a country, as a people, how children can perform better in class when they have the right nutrition, how they can do better in terms of their health and their nutrition status. So if you have any questions, any comments, please drop it in the chat and we'll get back to you. Thank you for watching. My name is Helena, and this is the African Nutrition Society's podcast. Thank you for watching.